Hello guys, this is PushDustIn from sourcegaming, and joining me today is lead translator Soma.
Hey guys.
And also Nintendaan.
DK Daan Koopman is here.
Hey. Actually, first time I heard your theme song.
Jeez, okay, yeah, sure. Fair enough.
Well, we're here not to talk about Daan's theme song, but if if the next Smash will be a port or not.
Yeah.
And we have a couple of points that we'd like to touch up upon. And the first one is that a lot of people seem to be confused about the copyright that displayed on the website, as well as the trailer.
And at the end of the Japanese Direct.
And yeah. And the Direct, of course. And so, Soma, what do you think?
Right, so I think the point of clarification here is that it says the copyright is attributed to HAL, and there's also the year, but I think those are two slightly separate topics. But the first thing is that the copyright being attributed to HAL is because HAL developed Smash in the first place, and so the series is partly theirs. And I don't think this is really any indication that HAL is developing the game.
Sure, yeah.
I think that's fairly clear if you think it through a little bit. HAL has been working on Kirby Star Allies. HAL is probably the same size they were when they made Melee, and obviously Smash has kind of expanded in size since then. So I think HAL may be involved. HAL always has some level of involvement, I think, with Smash, whether that be, input on Kirby or even helping out in other capacities that, they may or may not. There's a lot of kind of like resource sharing that goes on in these sorts of games, but I think it's pretty clear HAL is not, at least there's no real concrete evidence that HAL is developing this game. And then we know that Bandai Namco was actually announced fairly early on in the development process for Smash 4, I believe, but they also weren't really present on trailers until Pac-Man, I think. So I don't think this really says anything about who is or isn't developing the game at this point. It's just too early. And,
right. Also, I really don't think that HAL is developing Smash in any capacity. Like you said, they're still busy also with updates for Star Allies. We just saw one during the Direct. And then the other side of the company is more focused on their new mobile division, which is HAL Egg. And they just released their first game of that, and it seems that they're already working on their next one. So I'm not so sure, regardless of the situation, that they would be working on Smash anyway.
Yeah. And also, Sakurai hasn't moved as far as we're aware. He's still based in Tokyo, and HAL Laboratories is based in Yamanashi.
Yeah.
So he would have to move again. Who do you think is developing Smash on Switch? Personally, I'm leaning more towards Bandai Namco.
Yeah, I agree. I think the HAL stuff is more just like residual excitement for people who associate in part Melee and Smash 64's style of play to HAL Laboratories' involvement, and so they kind of want HAL to be involved. I don't really think that's the case. I agree that Bandai Namco would make a lot of sense, although that would mean Bandai Namco is supposedly developing Smash and Metroid Prime 4 for Nintendo, which would be interesting. It's a lot on their plate for the Switch for sure.
To be fair, Bandai Namco has multiple studios in multiple countries, so it might also be, and we saw a little indicator of that with the support on LinkedIn, for example, with a first-party game exclusive to a first-party platform with the guys from Singapore. So there might be more there than meets the eye. That being said, of course, the Bandai Namco side of things, that is the studio that's based in the Tokyo head office, is pretty big. I'm just concerned about the fact that their fighting game division is working on multiple fighting games already for this year.
Yeah, because we got Tekken as well.
Tekken, Soul Calibur.
Tekken is out, but it's still getting updates. I'm more concerned about like Soul Calibur and Smash Now at the same time.
Well, the next point is a fairly quick one. It's a similarity between the copyright date between the new Smash and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people saw the 2018 and we're comparing it to, I believe there's that image floating around of, other re-releases or other ports having the copyright kind of be a span of years, and then pointing to Smash for Switch only having 1 year as kind of proof that it's a new game versus port. And we know that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the copyright also only showed 1 year. So again, I don't think this is particularly strongly indicative of a port or a new game. And I think even if it was a port, it would probably have a new title anyway. A title significantly different enough to warrant being a new copyright, similar to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Of course, we also need to keep in mind that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in itself is a new copyright because it's not called Mario Kart 8, it's called Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Exactly.
Yeah. If it was like just Mario Kart 8 for Switch, I likely would have expected the copyright to say Mario Kart 8 2015 to 2017. Same see with the games that were in the last Nintendo Direct with, say, Luigi's Mansion and Captain Toad. They still have the same copyright, so they are still set in the same span of years.
Yeah, that makes sense, because they're not changing their name.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and the next thing is the rating, and it has the possibility of being reevaluated.
Right.
Yeah, I believe the EU trailer has like the provisional PEGI logo in the bottom left. Most games get re-rated. I don't really see this as anything losing sleep over.
Right.
So. Well, also, I think wasn't the rating also just for the trailer itself?
Yeah, most likely.
Well, provisional ratings means that it's mostly set by the companies in Europe. But they do mention it to Peggy, we have rated it this way, does that line up with your feelings, and most of the time they will say, yeah, that's okay.
The next thing that I would like to talk about is press releases, and there's a lot of different press releases that have come out from various Nintendo subsidiaries, and there seems to be a little bit inconsistency in their wording, and in particular with the German press release, it seems to at least mention that it's a new entry, or it might hint at it's a new entry. And so, Don, would you like to talk about this first?
Sure. Honestly, I don't really think there's a story there, because all of NOE's press releases come from one source, which being NOE. They have then responsible coordination people for each of the parts of Europe that will translate it and then send it off to the respective offices. So, for example, even though Germany and Nintendo of Europe are in the same office, there's a between man that looks at the press release, translates them, and then sends it to the PR people of Nintendo Germany. Same goes for all the different regions that are basically have their own separate offices within Europe. Where it comes down to is that they all resonate from the same press release, which is the English version. And in all of the other versions that I've checked outside the German one, it just states it's just an entry in the Smash Bros. Series for Nintendo Switch.
To be specific, it's just the German entry, kind of the wording, it leans more towards new game or like next title. I believe a lot of the and I believe the Spanish one also says new entry, but I believe the Spanish Liquid was saying that the Spanish press releases often say new entry for like the ports anyway. So again, there's just like a lot of inconsistencies, and I don't think these press releases are written in such a way that, you know, that I guess withstand this kind of extremely thorough scrutiny over the phrasing of one or two words. It's just kind of PR speak.
Honestly,
the most two important are really the English and the French versions, and it's not in either of them.
Okay. Well, the next thing is the Sakurai tweet that we translated on our Twitter account. So basically, the first version had a couple of errors, and we went back and retranslated that. The version that we posted the second time was, right now we're just at the stage where we're just revealed the game, but I've been working in the game in silence day after day. Please wait until we can release more information, or until release day.
The last sentence is actually most interesting, until we can release more information, or, you know, release day.
Yeah.
I think it's just starting the cycle again, so we don't know when the next time will be when they actually release new information. And it seems that they've been working on this for a while. They've been scrambling around the scenes, and they've just gone around to announcing it. So right now we're just still being in the awe moment of it just happening. But it will be interesting to see how things will line up, because we don't know when this is releasing. This could easily be a September-October thing, if nothing else. You may not know what's coming after or before that, so maybe even November. But my gut says September-October. And by that specific way, they need to have maybe some sort of additional announcement in May or something. I'm not sure, but they need to have something just before E3.
Right, and I think the initial version of this tweet, I think it was a little, the way it was translated was, I think people assumed, like they said in the beginning, we said, while we haven't gotten to the point where we can announce the game's title, which is kind of just a little mistranslation. It was some confusion between the word title really meaning game and not the title of the game. Right. So I don't really think anything in Sakurai's tweet, the content of the tweet indicates that it's a new game or not. If you wanted to say the fact that he did tweet is proof that it's a new game, I see that as more reasonable. But I don't think the tweet itself really is pointing toward it being a port or not, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Basically, it's just that it's something that he's working on. It could go either way.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Well, the next piece of evidence that we'd like to talk about is the timeline of Sakurai actually working on projects. So in January 2016, Sakurai announces that he was taking a quick break, but his next job was decided. In February 2016, Smash 4 DLC finishes. Then, just later that year, November 2016, in one of the Famitsu columns, I believe it was about the Famicom Mini, Sakurai mentions that he is working on a project in a studio. And then in December 2016, Sakurai mentions using a rifle for a reference for a character. So, considering that he hasn't released anything from that time and until now, it's reasonable to assume that he's been working on Smash for that entire time.
Sure, yeah. But I also think that even if he was not actively working on it, even though he knew that the project was already decided, he might have already considered ideas up to that point. Because he knew what his next task would be. So it's also not unreasonable to think, especially as a guy who has experience like he does, that until the point he started development again, he was also just brewing ideas for what was coming next.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sakurai was probably pretty hands-on with DLC. So I think probably the timeline of him working on this new game is likely like from maybe mid 2016 onwards, somewhere around that. When he says he's been like working on it every day, that doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, I've been working on it every day since Smash 4 released or since DLC happened. Like, it just means he's been working on it every day for some period of time. It's not like I just started working on it last week, but it's it's like he's been working on it for some time. It's just, we don't know exactly.
At least from the sounds like it, a bit longer than a year, if not longer, with just thoughts and ideas.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with more than a year. Well, the next thing that we'd like to talk about is the trailer itself. So I guess the next thing that we should talk about is the actual teaser itself. And is that proof, or does that hint at the game being a port or not? So for me personally, I think the teaser itself does kind of indicate that it's a brand new entry, just because of the dramatic shift in tone between the other Smash trailers.
Yeah, it's also, at the same time, it's really hard to tell, because we basically only know about one character and one big character change. The new character being naturally the Inklings, and the character change being Breath of the Wild Link. The Mario we've seen, the close-up of Mario, doesn't seem that different from the Mario we've seen in Smash 4. But you never know for sure. And after this training, I'm more inclined to believe it is, if not like completely new, at least based on the groundwork that's set up by Smash 4. I don't necessarily think that it's a port of some sorts, but at least some groundwork is used, because hey, that happens with every single Smash game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty similar to Smash 4. I honestly don't really think the distinction between port or new game is it really matters that much to me.
No, not exactly.
It's gonna be based on Smash 4, I think. I just don't really see any good reason for Sakurai to move off of the general skeleton of Smash 4. I think he's satisfied with it.
Sure.
And I think that for sure it's going to be a game. This new game is going to have enough content or enough changes to really to justify its existence, basically.
Right.
So like, I think I personally feel like getting caught up in the semantics of whether it's a port or a new game. I don't really particularly have like a strong opinion on it. I believe that this game will be pretty similar to Smash 4, but at the same time definitely have enough content to separate itself. Whether that's adding more single player or revamping some of the legacy characters' movesets, like Link, for example. If this is really a Breath of the Wild Link moveset and not just say a costume, and I think we'll have new characters naturally in new stages. I just don't really expect the sort of really big shift we got from 64 to Melee in terms of gameplay, and then from Melee to Brawl, and then Brawl to Smash 4, even though that was a smaller change. I don't expect that kind of shift, if that's what people are expecting when they say new game. So.
And Sakurai has said that, new characters add new gameplay to Smash.
Sure.
And so I think that just the focus on characters and releasing Smash and then releasing DLC afterwards would be probably the best way to satisfy the most amount of players.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I think the trailer itself is just, as Push said, the feel of it is so different. It's basically like an apocalyptic level trailer. Like when the Smash logo showed up and it was on fire, I was like, this is like Dark Souls, where like the dark sign is like emblazoned into the sky and stuff like. So, and I know some people were pointing out that the background music when the ominous tune starts playing, that it's a remix of like some Subspace songs and stuff. I personally I don't have like enough of a musical ear to really tell, but if this were, for example, pointing towards like a new type of a story mode, then I think that would be pretty cool. I really hope that, I think Smash 4 was pretty severely lacking in the content front, at least single player wise, so I hope that this game rectifies that.
Yeah, I mean, from a gameplay standpoint, it's likely one of the better ones. From a pure casual perspective, the item selection was pretty good, but then beyond that, I don't think the way that they set up classic mode in the Wii U game was all that great. And I think that stuff surrounding it could have been a whole lot better. So there's definitely room for improvement, and I think that in some ways, like, the 3DS version kind of trumped that specific way. Because I know that a lot of people didn't really like Smash Tour all that much, and that Smash Run was the preferred mode. So there is definitely room to do some stuff differently with this specific version of Smash.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of ways that they could even just enhance the modes that they already have, or mix them up. One thing that I think they need to really do is reevaluate the way they do All-Star mode, because it's getting to a point where there's just too many characters.
Yeah, All-Star mode doesn't necessarily seem all that fun anymore.
Yeah, and trying to unlock all the trophies for all those characters, it just becomes more of a chore.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some things they could take from PM. I really want the All-Star mode, the Inversus mode, the one where you can switch characters every stock. I think that's just like
Smash
brilliant.
Tour.
Yeah, they had it in Smash Tour, so obviously the framework is there. And then also Smash Run. Now that this game is on Switch, I would like to see Smash Run really finally kind of fully become the Kirby Air Ride City Trial-esque mode. I think it was envisioned to be, with like multiple people doing it at once. Because like that's the fun part of Kirby Air Ride, is like doing it with your friends and then like screwing them over while you're playing. It's not like playing
here's
alone.
The thing. I'm kind of in the minority of liking Smash Tour. I think that the end fight of you having different characters with a singular stock is really cool. I just don't think the build-up is really long. But if they add changes to that, and maybe add Smash Tour as well, it could have already been a way better package than the original Smash 4 games.
I think if they didn't have everyone move at the same time for Smash Tour, people would have accepted it a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think it was just too chaotic for a lot of people, and then they tried it once and they're like, I don't like this, and then stopped. If you actually understand what to do and everything, I think it's an okay mode.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just end up spending too much time not playing Smash, or like a Smash mode, and so it just kind of doesn't work out that great. But yeah.
So I guess we're all... Basically, the evidence that we looked at doesn't necessarily indicate that it's going to be a port or not, but in the end, most of us are thinking that it's going to be enough new content to have a new game.
Sure.
I mean, I think circumstantially, if you look at it, like the fact that Nintendo hasn't said it's a port, like the fact that they're really hyping it up this much, like indicates to me that at the very least they probably don't want to sell it as a port. You know, like they're not trying to sell this like it's a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like the same thing with like, you know, new courses. Like they really want this to be as like own full-fledged package that can sell itself. So even if it is at the core pretty similar to Smash 4, I think I don't think we should be really worried or like think that like we should be assuming that it's going to be very port-like. I think it's going to be a huge game.
More Splatoon 2 than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Okay. And Don, do you have any last thoughts before we end this?
No, it seems pretty clear to me what we discussed and where we're heading. I just hope, once again, that there's enough new, interesting stuff to justify it, and we'll see it come latter half of this year, I suppose.
Okay. Well, Don, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, which is @nintendaan, NANTNDAAN. You can find links to all the stuff that I do there. That's a Nintendo World Report, Go Nintendo, Game Explain, and a whole bunch of stuff more. Yeah, follow me on there, and you're all good and golden and fancy.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this discussion. If you enjoyed that, please go ahead and smash the subscribe button. As always, you can go ahead and check out the description for all of our social media links, as well as links to all the sources that we mentioned in the video. Remember to always return to the source, and this is PushDustIn signing out.